What's up, guys? In today's Tekken 7 tutorial, we're going to be talking about Okizeme, or Oki, which it sounds complicated and maybe a little intimidating, but I promise it's a pretty simple concept. Basically, the idea is when you knock the opponent down, when they're waking up, you can do stuff to them to make them guess, to mix them up. So Oki is basically just a mix-up that you're doing while the opponent is getting up off the ground. So why is this powerful? So it's really good because when you're on the ground, obviously there's a lot of stuff you can't do that you could do if you were standing up. You know, you can't move around, which is important, because if there's a move that is like really bad, if it whiffs, you like really don't want to whiff this. You don't want the opponent to get out of the way. Well, if they're getting up off the ground, they can't get out of the way. They're forced to sit there and deal with this move. So you can't get whiff punished in that scenario. Similarly, you can't attack while you're on the ground. I mean, you can wake up with attacks, but you know you can't like stick out jabs or anything. So when there's moves that take a long time to come out, you are worried that you're going to get hit out of them. If the opponent's waking up, you don't have to worry about that. And that applies to like throws too, right? Like if you're at neutral, it's really hard to land a throw because you got to kind of close this gap and get close enough, and the opponent's going to be hitting you when you try to get close. But if they're knocked down, all of a sudden, you know, you can land the throw, and they can't hit you out of it, and they can't get out of the way. So really, really useful. So what are some basic ideas that you can use for Oki? Lows are certainly a good thing to go for in Oki, especially if the opponent has just a sliver of life left. You know, you can polish them off with a low. That's really good. Conversely, mids, if you knock the opponent down, you know, hitting them with a mid. If they're blocking low, obviously they'll get hit by the mid. Plus, you know, since a lot of your combos start off of mids, you know, that way you can kind of loop the Oki situation back around and kind of keep them in this setup where they're constantly having to guess on wake up. And like I mentioned, throws, really good when you knock the opponent down going in for a throw. Especially if your character has a command throw, which a lot of characters do. You know, you can make them do a 1-2 break instead of just a normal 1 or 2 break. Make it a little bit harder for them when they're getting up. So go into training mode, learn some basic ideas for what you're going to do when you knock the opponent down. It's really, really important. But do note that the opponent is not going to make this easy for you. Don't forget that there are a lot of different wake-up options in this game. Most commonly, I think, is going to be the side roll. People are going to be doing this on most wake-ups, so find setups that are going to hit the opponent while they're side rolling, you know. You can set this to random, which is really nice. So sometimes they'll do a wake-up thing, sometimes they won't. So that way you can practice the different timings that people have while they're getting up. So that's really good. Also, don't forget that the opponent can wake up with a bunch of different stuff like attacks. You know, make sure that you have setups that are going to keep you safe against these wake-up attacks so that if you expect that, you can bait it out and punish. This can also be set to random. So this is pretty good for, you know, checking out what are the different options your opponent has, trying to figure out setups that can deal with multiple options at once. But the most important way to learn this is going to be in real matches. You know, figure out your basic Oki setups, and then when you get in a real match, you know, it'll be a more realistic scenario. You can see how people behave when they're knocked down and really get that timing so that you can kind of keep the pressure going against them. So one final thing I want to talk about is when you're doing combos, don't just think about the damage that the combo's going to do, right? So, like, I believe this is the most damaging follow-up for this combo, 55 damage, but the problem is, you see how it leaves them really far away? I have to dash up to get close. So if they're doing, like, a wake-up kick or something, I'm not going to be able to get close enough to Oki them after this. So I'll, like, try dashing up, and you just get hit, right? So in addition to damage, try to find combos that set you up for good Oki. So, like this one is 52 damage, which is less, but you can see it leaves me closer, and it leaves me in this Art of Phoenix stance, which, you know, she has like a whole bunch of cool mix-ups she can do off that. So in general, it's a better Oki situation. You know, you can hit him out of his wake-up attack a lot more effectively than, you know, the earlier combo that leaves you full screen. So that's really important, guys. Obviously, there's other factors, too, like whether you want to push them to the wall or anything like that. But, you know, it's just a thought. Think about it. So That's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching. In the next one, we're going to be talking about low parrying, a universal mechanic you may already know about, but it's really useful for dealing with people who like to throw out a lot of lows. So I will see you then, guys. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.